At Bill Gatton Honda, we make car buying easy with our competitive pricing and award-winning service. Get a 2017 Honda Civic LX as low as $169 a month. Or how about the 2017 Honda HR-V LX for only $189 a month? And don't forget our 2017 Honda Fit LX for $139 a month. Visit us online 24/7 at BillGattonHonda.com. And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.
And with us, Ray Johnson tonight here at Quaker Steak and Lube for Inside Vikings Sports here on the Voice of the Vikings and ESPN Tri-Cities, and ready to get back to normal, I guess, for us, if normal is such a thing. But sorry we missed last week, but if you're with us 2 weeks ago, John was already out of sorts, and Coach Mays kind of was, and then they must have given it to me because we were all under the weather last week and couldn't get here to do the show. But we are back and greatly appreciate everybody here at Quaker Steak and Lube for taking care of us. We're at the corner of State and Piedmont. Always a big old time here on Wednesday night, and I think their karaoke, I don't know if they're set up, they've finished now. I think
they said Brad said last week they're winding down.
Last week was the last week, and they're going to be doing trivia now on Wednesday night. I think.
About that.
I don't know when they start that up. It should be any time though. And of course tonight, it being Wednesday, the Thunderbird steaks are on sale for $12.99, and you get two sides with that for the $12.99. Then starting at 9 o'clock, it's boneless wings, 60-cent boneless wings, and of course we will partake of those as soon as the show's over with. I can assure you that, and we'll show Ray how we do this thing, John, because he's got a big old chart up there to pull off of, and we'll see if he go to the top of it or not. At 500,000 right there, we'll see if he can do it or not. So
I'm in the Olympic level.
So we've done it a couple weeks ago. So you got to be initiated.
Step it up, doesn't it? Yeah. So, but we are back at Quaker Steak and Lube, and a lot of stuff going on here. Of course, they've got music playing for this weekend. If you're not doing anything and you're not going to Bama, well, you might want to come down here and watch Tennessee, and
you'd be better off staying up here.
Come in here and watch Bama play Saturday. I'm just kidding. But of course, all the screens will be on. There's baseball on right now as the Astros and the Yankees are on right now on 3 of the screens I can see. So we're sitting here and just having us a good old time and trying to get back into the swing of things here. Next Saturday, the 28th, will be Boo Bash, and that'll be from noon until 3, if I'm not mistaken. Boo Bash, and that's a great way to bring the kids down, and it is the 28th, and so you need to bring them down. You bring your kids down, grandkids in my case, grandkids in Ray's case, kids in John's case, and again that goes from noon until 3 right here at Quaker Steak and Lube. They always have a lot of good activities for the kids. They can make stuff and then take it home with them, and also you can get the kids can eat for 99 cents. With the kids' car with an adult purchase that day as well. So a lot of stuff going on down here. Again, there's live music on the weekends, and they'll continue to do that as long as the weather's permissible. And the way things look right now, it might be a good time to get down here this week, Friday and Saturday night, for live music out here on the patio, because it's going to get chilly next week. So come on down and do that. Of course, if it's on Monday night here, we just go right down the lineup on Sundays. Kids cruiser meals for $1.99. Mondays, any half-pound steak burger with a sidecar for $6.99, and they've got really great hamburgers down here. Tuesday, all you can eat wings, and that is dine-in only. Okay, you can't load up a boatload of them and take them out with you. You got to meet them here, but they're only $14.99. They'll bring them to you as long as you can handle them. So done that a couple times too. Wednesday night, as we said, we're here at Thunderbird Steak with 2 sidecars and 60-cent boneless wings starting at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. That's what I was saying. That's where we are now. Thursday, tomorrow night, we have baby back ribs with sidecars. That's 2 sidecars. You can get a half rack for $9.99 or a full rack for $14.99. So a lot of stuff going on here. And, of course, if you're health conscious, you can get salads and you can get wraps. And
That's what I've heard.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I ain't never done that.
They supposedly have some back there.
But they do have really good food here, and they will definitely take care of you, and it is absolutely packed in here right now. So that's good. That's what we want. Come on in here and get arrested with the rest of all this mess of people. Tonight we're going to be talking with head coach of the Vikings, Mike Mays, and he has brought his offensive line with him down here. If you're on Facebook, you already seen it. They're out there. And so we'll be talking with a couple of the players. Don't know who we're going to be talking with.
It's a bad night to have Thunderbird steaks on sale.
It is, too.
Just bring a side of beef out and lay it on the table.
Yeah, lay it out there. So, but the offensive line for the Vikings is here with us tonight and had an outstanding game last Friday night down at Crockett. And Vikings win that game 35-13 at David Crockett. Vikings now 6-3 overall. They're 4-1 in conference play, in second place by themselves, all by their lonesome. And trailed Daniel Boone. Of course, Boone with a big game coming up this Friday night. It'll be the Musket Bowl, which is a huge game, as it always is. It's Crockett and Daniel Boone, the Fess Parker schools, as I like to say. And so it'll be Friday night. We'll be keeping up with that game, obviously. The Vikings will be hosting senior night this Friday night, and they're going to be hosting Cherokee. And Cherokee is going to come in with a record of 4-4 and 2-2 in conference play. And right now, as I said, Boone at 5-2 and 4-0. The Vikings 6-3 and 4-1. Crockett 5-3 and 3-1. Cherokee is 4-4 and 2-2. Morristown East 2-6 overall and 2-2 in conference play. Cott County is 3-5, 0-4, and Volunteer winless on the season. And so bringing up the rear. And as we've started doing the last couple of weeks, we're going to be keeping up with the Knoxville area schools a little bit more right now. It is a mess down there. I'm just telling you.
And it's like a three-way tie for something.
It's nuts. I'm telling you. There's only two schools down there with a winning record. Halls is 3-5, but 3-1 in conference play. Sevier County is 4-4 and 3-1. Knox Carter 2-6, 2-1. South Doyle is 3-5, and they're 3-2. Gibbs is 4-4 and 2-2 in conference. Knox Central 4-4 and 2-2, and Seymour is winless. So you've got 6 schools in both. I think this. Our conference is pretty much shaken out right now. Yeah. I think we probably will know after Friday night who our 4 teams are going to be, and probably going to know where they're going to be playing, either at home or on the road down Knoxville area. We're going to have to go to next week though. To the final week before we know what's going to be going on in the Knoxville area. It is crazy down there, and there's a couple of matchups. Halls and Carter are playing each other, I think, this week. Was that it, John? Or no, Halls and Sevier County. Yeah. Sevier County. So that's going to probably determine one of the first and second spots right there. Easily could. Carter's playing at South Doyle, and that's another conference game, but. They were, I think, all but one of their schools was off last week or close to it, and so it's screwy down there. I'm just telling you.
I know Halls and Gibbs played in Sevier County, and
yeah,
somebody played like to a 9-6.
It was 9-6, 9-7. Seymour and Sevier County beat them 9-7 at Seymour, and I'm telling you, of course.
Well, let them beat up on one another.
Yeah, exactly. Right, you're right. So let them do it now. So. There's, it's going to come down to probably next week down there, the week 11. Of course, the Vikings will be off. This is their final regular season game this week at the Castle. Again, we'll be there at 6:30 with Dr. Deborah Basham pregame show, and then the McAllister's kickoff at 7:30 right here on the Voice of the Vikings. But, for the Vikings, if they win, they're playing at home. I mean, that's all there is to it. And they are in the playoffs. I mean, at the worst now, we're looking at 3. At worst, as a seeding, and so You just go take care of business at home Friday night and don't worry about anybody else.
We were talking about earlier. Most likely you're going to be the 2 seed, but there's one way to guarantee you're going to be 2 seed, and that's get a win Friday.
Exactly right.
At least a 2 seed.
Yeah, at least, yeah. I mean, you never know what could happen. Could be 1, but you're guaranteed to be home with a win Friday.
And that would be huge, believe me. So
I'm sure Coach Mays feels the same way. He's
Yeah,
glad
I'd
to
say
have it in his hands.
guarantee it, Ray. They're going to be they're going to be ready to play.
We've worn down I-40 enough the past few years. We can
I'd
stay
agree
home
with
for a
that.
little
We've
bit.
put some miles on it on the cars, that's for sure. So it's the Vikings will be 6-3 coming in, 4-1 in conference play for Cherokee, 4-4 and 2-2. Again, the Vikings with a 35-13 win at David Crockett last Friday night, and defense for the Vikings held Crockett to minus 16 yards rushing. Now, they did throw for 300, but they didn't have a pass over 15 yards though, John, and was their largest reception. Threw a lot of dump and ding all night long. But the Viking defensive line was able to. They got 5 sacks on the game and got some pressure on their quarterback. It just, they did what they needed to do.
Negative.
John, you got the stats there.
Yeah, -8 rushing yards for Crockett on 7 attempts. They threw 63 passes. It was a lot. So I'd say Cade Larkin's arm was sore Saturday morning.
Took that game so long to get over with.
They completed 33 for 63 for 300 yards.
And no touchdowns.
Yeah.
One.
I'm trying to remember what.
They gave the first one. No, it wasn't.
Cade Larkins ran it in. Cade Larkins ran it in. It was a great one-handed catch by Dante Hackler.
Yeah.
Reached around Jacob Falcon, snatched it, and got stopped at the 1. But the Vikings had 100 yards passing on 10 attempts, 35 rushing attempts for 315 yards. So, that's you got 10 yards a pass per attempt and 9 yards per rush. So
it's pretty good offensive night.
That's why the offensive line is over here behind us, right?
Yeah,
you got that exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And just as far as Crockett on Dante Hackler, 128 yards on 14 receptions for him, and Zeb Holland 115 yards on 10 receptions for him. So those two were the offense for Crockett. For the Vikings, again, passing, you didn't have to do much. 10 Overbay, 0 yards on 0 completions, but Cortland had 4 completions for 100 yards, 77 yards to C.J. Hess on two receptions. And they were big 3rd and long receptions too. Ryan Gibson, the best night he's had all year, 147 yards.
And one called back.
A touchdown and 1 called back. Had a 75-yard run. Cortland Carter had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns belongs to Ryan Gibson because that was the one that was called back on the next play. I'd say Cortland will probably keep that one though. Hunter Holt, pretty good night, 4 carries for 30 yards. He's done good filling in when he needs to. He probably won't break a 75-yard run, but if he can get 5 yards, he'll get 6.
He might drag somebody 75 yards.
Yeah. Again, receiving, not much in that department. C.J. Hess, again, 77 yards. Ryan Gibson with 6 yards, and I believe
Nolan Wishon is
17 yards. And that's
so.
That's pretty much the offense. They ran it a lot and did what they needed to do. And
I think
they got up early, really. 28-0, maybe 21-0 or something. It was 28. They had 28 points early, and they didn't have to do much the rest of the game.
The Vikings scored 3 times in the first 4+ minutes and on 5 plays. And again, one of those 5 plays was brought back for a holding call as Ryan Gibson, he'd gone 60 yards, I think. The first 60 yards on the first touchdown run, and so they brought that one back, and then Cortland scored 2 plays later, I think from like 2 or 3 yards out or so.
Yeah, the first touchdown was Cortland that was the first play of the game.
Right.
A 60-yard run. Then Cortland ran it from 5 yards out, and then Gibson from 75 yards out, and so that was.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
So you get 3 scores up 21-0, and a little over 4 minutes on 5 plays. That was the way to get it started, and I think that the Vikings knew they needed to jump early, to get on them early, and just kind of try to shove it down their throats.
And
that's exactly what they did. And they made it. I know they cut it to 28-7 or something like that.
It was 28-7. That was in the first quarter. The first quarter was 28-7, and after that, each team only scored one more time. So I mean, it was.
So they did what they needed to do. I think once they kind of thought they were going to get a little bit of momentum, though, Viking defense stepped up and went 3 and outs like 2-3 straight times then, and really never let them back in the game. I think their hope of getting there was fleeting at best. And so Viking offense did what they needed to do, put 35 points on the board, and like I said, they threw for 300 yards, but you don't have any pass plays over 15 yards and never extended the field. Really some pretty good defense by the Viking defensive backs, and it was all one-on-one stuff, man-to-man stuff, which is what they have been playing the entire season anyway. So they're used to playing those, and Hackler's a pretty good receiver.
Oh yeah,
John, and Holland played well too. Larkins can throw. There's no doubt about that. He ain't afraid to pitch it, man. That's all there is to
I think
it.
that's part of that, bend but don't break thing.
It really was. They played a little soft coverage towards the middle of the field, but they, other than one long catch, it was a great catch by Hackler. They didn't really have much other than little dink and dunks all they had.
So the Vikings do win, and they win 35-13 down at David Crockett. We'll be at home on Friday night for senior night with the Cherokee Chiefs at the Stone Castle, and looking forward to that. It's always a big night. I think it's also Pink Out night, if I'm not mistaken, again, and because they're selling an awful lot of Viking T-shirts this week. I know that. So Student Council selling those, and that will be Kimberly Bright and her crew selling those. But I think you can get them through tomorrow. If you want to get one of those pink T-shirts, you better get it by lunchtime tomorrow, I would say. So, but we'll be at the Castle on Friday. It's the Vikings and Cherokee for senior night. They'll also be recognized as senior cheerleaders, the Mighty Viking Band seniors, volleyball, and also cross country and Lady Viking soccer. And there's not a whole lot of Lady Viking soccer players on that senior squad, I can assure you that. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be right there starting at 6:30 with Dr. Deborah Basham pregame show, and then be back for the kickoff at 6:30 with the McAllister's kickoff. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to start looking at some Lady Viking and Viking stuff, get some advanced Viking updates as well right here on ESPN Tri-Cities. We're at Quaker Steak and Lube for Inside Viking Sports. We'll be back right after this.
At Bill Gatton Honda, we make car buying easy with our competitive pricing and award-winning service. Get a 2017 Honda Civic LX as low as $169 a month. Or how about the 2017 Honda HR-V LX for only $189 a month? And don't forget our 2017 Honda Fit LX for $139 a month. Visit us online 24/7 at BillGattonHonda.com. And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.
Harry has a Honda, Holly has a Honda, Howard got a Honda too. Jerry's got a Honda, Freddie's got a Honda, you know what you got to do. Bill Gatton is a friend for sure, he's looking out for you. After all these years it's time for you to drive a Honda too. Bill Gatton has a Honda for you.
And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.
Dale and John Monroe and Ray Johnson coming to you live and in person here at Quaker Steak and Lube, downtown Bristol at the corner of Piedmont and State. It's Wednesday night, and again, the Thunderbird Steaks, $12.99. It includes 2 sidecars, and steaks are really good. I can promise you that. And also at 9 o'clock, 60-cent boneless wings here at Quaker Steak and Lube, and we get to start on that early. As soon as the show's over, we're going to dig into some, that's for sure. So again, a lot of stuff going on here, live music this weekend. Also, don't forget next Saturday from noon until 3, it's Boo Bash for the kids for Halloween, and bring them on down. You get a chance to, I won't say you might help them out, but they'll get a chance to make some stuff and take it home with them. There's always cookies and snacks and a lot of other stuff here. They're also going to have bounce houses too. Forgot about that, weather permitting. So bring them down, and could be a fun time here at Quaker Steak and Lube. So let's get into let's get into a little bit of Lady Viking updates first before we do anything else. And Lady Viking soccer finished their season again last week. They finished the season at 8-9-1. They're 4-3-1 in conference play, and they lost to DB 3-2 in the semifinals. It's bad enough to lose to them 3 times, but they lost to them 3-2 all 3 times.
Right.
And that is just unreal. They were down 2-0 at the half in the semifinals, came back and tied it up, and then got beat on, I think, on a penalty kick, if I'm not mistaken. And so they finished 8-9-1, 4-3-1. They're good enough for 3rd place in the Big 6 conference now because somebody dropped out. But Taylor Harr and Emma Arnold both named an all-conference team and all-district team. So congratulations to both of them. And by the way, they'll both be back next year, along with a goalie and a whole lot of other Lady Vikings. I said, I don't think they have but maybe two seniors on their team this year, and I think Kevin started three freshmen on the varsity this year, so they're in good shape. I think I was thinking
something to build on right there. You've got they get that much experience with them. Playing with some of these. Like you said, I announced them the other night, and
right.
There wasn't that many seniors to announce.
No, there's not.
And it was great to be able to see all those young girls and not realizing that they were young.
Yeah, they're very young.
But until I was reading off what their status was with the sophomores and just
sophomore.
Yeah, a load of sophomores.
So that's a good thing. So I know the other thing is you lose Chloe Arnold, and of course she's starting at UT Chattanooga right now. And congratulations, Chloe, because she's a Tennessee Sports Writer Athlete of the Week for ladies soccer at UT Chattanooga. All she did was score 3 goals at the Citadel down in Charleston last Friday. So congratulations to Chloe. She's of course she's Tennessee High's all-time leading scorer. John and I were talking about this before. You lose her, you lose your leading scorer, and you lose your goalkeeper that'd been starting for you for 4 years, Maddie Wolf, and that's a lot. That's just those 2 positions alone. That is a lot to make up on the field, and that's. But they did well, and they were competitive every game that they played this year. It wasn't like obviously you're getting beat 3-2 3 times, and you knock off Science Hill.
Right.
And they end up winning the thing, winning the district tournament as well. But, of course, they're into tournament play now. They had their sub-state matches, I guess, last night, I believe was sub-state. And the Dobbins-Bennett was defeated 6-0 down at Bearden. Bearden's got a really good soccer team, and the Toppers won, so they'll advance to the state. But Lady Vikings end up again 8-9-1 overall and 4-3-1 in conference play, and finished 3rd in the conference. And again, congratulations to Emma Arnold and Taylor Harder, both making all conference and all district. Viking cross country team finished 1st at the A6 run. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. The Vikings won it 2 years ago down in Atlanta, and they went down there, and which was crazy. We were saying, we're kind of so maybe they can win that thing again this year. Well, they did, and they had 4 runners in the top 10 and 5 in the top 15. But they finished 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 14th in the running. The top runners. Ethan Tilley leading the way for the Vikings. David Heminger, Dawson Willis, Jarrett Powell, and Jarek Juarez, the 5 runners for the Vikings. And the Lady Vikings finished 4th down at the A6. So that's another good showing. But Emma Davis, who is a freshman, finished 9th. Sydney Smith, who is also a freshman, finished 10th. And that's one of the things we were talking about with Frankie Nunn, the head coach. And he said we're just really young right now, and they are. But it's like at the first of the year, you didn't see them even on anything. When they do the top 15, they're down there 18 to 19 to 20, and then all of a sudden they started, as the season progressed, they've gotten a lot better, and they're running real well right now and stuff, and So the Vikings finished 12th at the Trailblazer meet this past Saturday down at Daniel Boone, another really big course that they're used to running on. And so the Lady Vikings did not run that meet, but the Vikings did. It finished 12th. I was looking at that list. You had our staple, which is DB, Science Hill, and Boone, and then there's all these other schools from outside the state. And those people from outside the state finished first, second, and third.
What was the number? I can't remember how many they did have entered in that. How many different schools?
Oh, at Steel Creek.
At the Boone.
Oh, I don't know. Probably
There's a lot.
Probably 30 or so normal
I
for
can't
them.
remember.
And I know they had 27 when they ran at Steel Creek. So, but they will be back on the course tomorrow at Steel Creek. Speaking of Steel Creek, it'll be the Big 11 meet, because I forgot about they combined the schools now for their track meets. So for the cross country meet, so they'll be running the Big 11 meet tomorrow at Steel Creek at their home course. So that's a good thing. So hopefully that will help them out. As we had mentioned, the Viking Vance Viking football team finished 6-3 overall and got that huge win at Boone. Lady Viking soccer, they knocked off T.A. Degger. They got them a shutout last night, 5-0 at the Castle, and so they beat them 4-0 last night. I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else. And they beat Degger the week before that 5-0. They beat Degger last night 4-0 in the district tournament. So they will be playing at Liberty Bell tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and if they win there, matter of fact, I think that's their only loss of the year. One of the only 2 losses they had. Vance Lady Viking soccer team pretty good right now. Of course, Danny Dorsey's, we know his granddaughter playing for him, and a couple of other people too. But they'll be playing again tomorrow afternoon with Liberty Bell down in Johnson City. Big 7 conference versus the Three Rivers Jamboree. Here we go. It's time to start talking about basketball now. South will be taking on the Lady Vikings on Tuesday, November the 7th at 5:30 at Daniel Boone. And then the Vikings will be playing Johnson County at 7 o'clock on Thursday in Elizabeth. And so we're getting ready for
3 weeks from tomorrow.
Oh, man, it is, isn't it? And then Lady Viking basketball season will start November the 18th, and that will be at Viking Hall. That's a Hall of Champions games. The Vikings will start the 16th in a Hall of Champions, and so we will see about getting those games in or not. And that's a couple of them are Saturday during the day.
You never know with some of them. Yeah.
We probably will not do those. About bet you money we won't. It's a screwy schedule, and especially with us having Tennessee football on, that will dictate when or if we do the games. So that's going on. I also want to remind everybody, again, the Viking baseball team is having a fundraiser at Fats on the Parkway. That is Saturday morning. It is a breakfast. That is $8. You can get the tickets in advance, or you can get them there. And that is a fundraiser for Viking baseball. And talked to Coach Preston Roberts yesterday. I think he's, or the day before yesterday, I think he's a little bit excited about baseball. He should be.
He is.
He should be excited about baseball season. So, and then certainly last but and not least by any stretch of the imagination, Lady Viking volleyball. They finished the season at 30-12. They go 8-2 in conference. They finished as conference runner-up. That's about the only thing they didn't finish first at, except for going to state. But they went 8-2 in conference play. They won every single match they had at home. They went undefeated at home this year in Viking Hall. So thanks to all those students and everybody that came out, and Ray was over there a couple times.
Oh, yes.
I got to see him play a couple times. It was loud in there, and they got some home court advantage, and so thanks everybody for coming out and supporting the Lady Viking volleyball team. They won the district tournament 3-0.
They swept through the whole postseason until they got to state.
Yeah, and then they played Morristown East in the regional, and came back and had to play volunteer twice. They went 3-0 in regionals, 3-0 in district. went down and then had Heritage come up. They beat them 3-0 at Viking Hall to win the sub-state, and then ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw last night or yesterday afternoon late with Siegel. They lost 3-0 to Siegel in the opening round. And Siegel was still playing this afternoon late. They did get beat though, and so they lose 3-0 to Siegel in the opening round yesterday afternoon, and then end up playing at 10:45 last night. They started the first match at 3 o'clock. At 10:45 last night, they started the other match as they played Ravenwood. A little bit closer, way closer match than they played against Siegel. But something that just totally wasn't fair to either one of those schools, right? They both played early, and then you're waiting till 10:45 to play last night because the way they set their sights up, and as I've said many times, the TSSAA in their infinite wisdom, they just, I don't understand it. It's not fair. They had another site, and they were playing late, and, if you're going to, when you're running single A, double A, triple A, and Division II at 2 different courts, it ain't going to work. I mean, that's 8 teams per division. Yeah. That's 32 teams, guys. Or is that right? Yeah, do the math. No, 8 per division, so it'd be more. Yeah, that's right. So, I just, it doesn't make sense to me. So, I guess that's why they don't want us running it. I think I could have found a better way to do it. Run your Division II at one school, single A, double A, and triple A, and get them in if you want to get those matches in today, so that everybody's playing fresh today. Right. Instead of trying to cram everything in. As I said, though, they ran into a buzzsaw. That's all there is to it. Coach Mary Johnson and her staff and Charlie Tiller, and they had a good season. As I told somebody today, there's a whole lot of other schools, when we were talking about before we came on air, there's a whole lot of schools like to be in that position. At the worst, they're going to finish 8th in the state.
Right. I don't think anybody would have picked them at the beginning of the year to go near that far.
And they got some, started on a crazy kind of note anyway.
Like 11-0, 12-0 to start. Yeah,
and Mary Johnson came in basically about 5 days before the season started and took over as head coach, and they did well. Listen, that team, they just had something.
They meshed so well together and picked one another up. They didn't allow their teammates to get down on a bad shot. I mean, they didn't think anything in the world about it. Picked right up and going. But getting back to the sub-state game, we were out on fall break. The students were out on fall break, and the place was packed.
Yes, it was.
With the football players and the basketball players.
And the Lady Vikings were playing soccer that night, and it was full over there too. So that's a good thing. That means that Viking pride's alive and it's back.
It is. But that made me feel so good to see all those students in there, because there was nothing like everybody saying, let's go to the game tonight at school today, because there was no school.
Right.
So it was great to see them all down there and cheering.
Yeah, they get loud.
Oh, they do.
So as we say, we're getting ready to start into winter sports, and we'll have Lady Viking and Viking basketball here on ESPN Tri-Cities on the Voice of the Vikings. We'll be keeping up with the Aqua Vikes. They're starting. Matter of fact, they went to Florida to scrimmage and swim some during fall break, and of course the wrestling team is at it, hosting some stuff right now and doing some meets or matches with some other schools, and kind of hitting the road, just trying to get prepped up for wrestling season. So we've got all the winter sports getting ready to happen here. Really, as John said, what, in 2 weeks now?
Yeah, 3 weeks from 3 weeks from yesterday, Lady Vikings basketball scrimmage.
It's it's on us now. So we'll all have as much as we can right here on ESPN Tri-Cities and the Voice of the Vikings. So that gets everybody caught up. I do also. I'm just going to say one thing. They pick, of course, Aaron and Addison hitter and setter of the year. This is my personal opinion, for what it's worth, but the head coach of the year is sitting over on that sideline. It's not anywhere at any of them other schools.
I don't know how they overlooked that. But,
I don't either, because, man, she's good.
Yeah.
She really is.
They weren't expected to be there.
No. And they beat people.
And they beat people.
When you run through the district tournament and regional tournament 3-0, you got a pretty daggone good team. That's all there is to it. So we're going to take us another break. When we come back, we'll have the head coach of the Vikings, Mike Mays, with us, along with a couple of the linemen, and don't know who, but we'll find out. We'll be back with more Inside Viking Sports right here on ESPN Tri-Cities. Back after this.
At Bill Gatton Honda, we make car buying easy with our competitive pricing and award-winning service. Get a 2017 Honda Civic LX as low as $169 a month. Or how about the 2017 Honda HR-V LX for only $189 a month? And don't forget our 2017 Honda Fit LX for $139 a month. Visit us online 24/7 at BillGattonHonda.com. And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.
Harry has a Honda, Holly has a Honda, Howard drives a Honda too. Jerry's got a Honda, Freddie's got a Honda, you know what you got to do. Bill Gatton is a friend for sure, he's looking out for you. After all these years, it's time for you to drive a Honda too. Bill Gatton has a Honda for you.
And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.
Hello, I'm Mike Mays, head football coach at Tennessee High School. You're watching Inside Viking Sports, sponsored by Bill Gatton Honda.
It includes 2 sidecars. Again, the Vikings hosting Cherokee this Friday night for senior night, and looking forward to getting over back to the castle for the final regular season game of the season. So with me now, the head coach of the Vikings, Mike Mays, and Mr. Maggard, Joe Maggard, with the offensive line. As Coach Mays, you brought them all the guys in here tonight.
Hey, you know, you rush for 300 yards, no line gets stakes, and that's kind of what we've done all year, so that's our goal.
It is, and they did have a good game. They have 2 guys go over 100 yards rushing with Cortland Carter and Ryan Gibson, and they had it is all up to those guys. Joe talked a little bit about last Friday night, and y'all just started pounding the ball away. 10 passes for an entire game. It was going to be a ground game of the night.
I mean, we just got in their jumbo package, and we just tried to be physical with them, run it down their throat, and we saw it was working and just stuck with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
So, you all really did have an outstanding game, though. You opened up a couple of holes, had 2 big runs, one of them got called back, but Coach Mays, these guys just busted their hump all night Friday night.
Well, you know, it's, you know, the way we play is, you know, it's a physical game, and these guys, you know, they come in every day and, you know, and grind up front and get the work done. You know, we're lacking in depth up there, so those guys are having to play, you know, some of these guys are having to play scout team offense, you know, so, you know, they're a little bit banged up, but they know that's, you know, that's what carries the team, what we're doing, and they've kind of taken on their shoulders every week to, you know, say let's go, you know, let's get behind us, and, you know, we're gonna open some holes, and you know, we're gonna keep the ball and keep the offense on their offense on the sideline, and you know, that's
run that clock.
That's right. If they don't have the ball, they can't score. So
exactly right. So, Joe, talk a little bit about how you think the season's gone so far, about your season so far. Maybe not so much a line, but about you personally, how things have gone.
I mean, I think my season's went pretty good. I mean, I'm really just anything for us to win is the main thing. Going from 2-8 to hopefully 7-3 this year. I mean, that's just tremendous. I mean, upside from last year. So just anything to help us win, I'm all for it.
You all are a pretty tight-knit group too, and Mike, you know, we've talked about this many times, but it all starts up there. Those guys, more than anybody else, have to know what each other's doing and be hitting on cylinders, I guess.
Well, you know, I hope these guys know how important they are to me. You know, that's kind of why we do this steak dinner for these guys. You know, they don't get a lot of glory up front, and you know, when things aren't going, they kind of get the blame sometimes, and you know, but they go through what they do every day, you know, and work hard, and you know, we count on these guys a lot. You know, not just me, but the coaching staff, and I think the team has really seen that, you know, and understanding that if these guys have a good night, we're going to have a good night.
Right.
And it helps us both offensively and defensively, keep some people fresh on defense, and you know, Cortland's not back there running for his life, and you know, and he's running vertically instead of running sideways, you know. So you know, we're opening some seams for him, and and these guys are just embraced what we're doing. It's turned our season around.
Right. Let's talk about a couple of the running backs. You talked about hit on Cortland. You know, he's able to hit a seam or hit a small opening, and he's able to get going. Hunter Holt's kind of, you know, he sees what's out there, Joe, and he makes the best of what he can. And I think he had close to 40 yards rushing last Friday night. You all are opening up enough of a hole for him to get through. We talked about this. You know, he's going to get what he can get, and that's going to be it probably 90% of the time.
Well, I tell you what, our backs are doing a great job of right now is just getting down the field,
right?
You know, and hitting the hole and getting what they can get, and then making something big after you get through the hot spot or whatever you call it. You know, just
right.
First line of defense is these guys, and if they can open a hole, we can get through it, and then it's the back's job to make some plays after that. So, yeah, we've done a great job of opening those holes up front, but the backs have done a great job. They've also done a great job of blocking also.
Yes, they have.
They're part of the 300 rushing, but they say some of them say, Coach, we block too. We just get a steak dinner. And I say, well, you guys get the sticker for the touchdown. They get the glory for the touchdown. So these guys don't get the stickers for the touchdowns, but and we rotate backs.
Right.
Well, we don't rotate these guys.
Exactly.
These guys are out there
for the duration.
Yeah. So, I hope they know how important they are to me. I can't say enough about this group. How they're so close and they work extremely hard. This group together is 1,000 pounds stronger in the weight room than they were last year. As a group. So.
And you can see it.
And you got Blackwell in the middle, and he's such a great leader for us, and everybody's counting on him to get things done. If I need anything done, I go to Blackwell, with the offensive line, and he usually gets them pretty straight. So, it all starts with leadership, but these guys are helping each other out, and there's not a lot of griping. They know they're going to miss a block, and things are going to happen. They're patting each other on the butt and saying, "Let's go, let's play the next play. Don't worry about that play. Let's go." And we've changed up some snap counts this year and things like that, and it was kind of a slow go at first, but these guys have really been disciplined up front and just leaning on each other and helping each other out, and that's what football's about anyway. It's not about you, it's about the guy next to you, and I think they really embrace that. I think this whole team really embraces it. It's not about them, it's about everybody else.
Well, I would agree. Joe, the other thing I was going to bring up is they're, I won't say they're loading the box, but they're almost doing it. And y'all are still getting blocks off and still opening up those holes. If you look at what we've done in the last 3 weeks, they're doing their job.
Yeah,
Jay, y'all are doing a great job on the line. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's all about angles. We get, if we take the proper footwork and the proper angle, we just don't line up and run, isolation plays and things like that. We do sometimes, but a lot of times it's angle blocking, and you gotta have a correct track to stay on. And then if we do that, we're going to move the football.
Right. Well, Joe, listen, I appreciate you stopping in here. I'll let you get back to eating. And who do you want on next there, Coach?
Let's get Nolan on.
Joe, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, well, this is small.
How's
Your
Nolan?
head's big.
So how's Nolan?
I'm pretty good right now.
Good. Congratulations on that catch the other night.
Thank you.
Really good catch. 17-yard catch on one you had, on one attempt. But as we've said, he's also a huge blocker.
I tell you what's been really fascinating about Nolan this year. He's gone from this sophomore kid that he wants to play tight end. When he asked him to play tackle, we had some guys banged up, and he did it. And that's really awesome for a sophomore to be so unselfish. So, and he's willing to do whatever. He's really gone strides, great strides, blocking. He's got huge hands, so he can catch the football. But sometimes we put them lineman gloves on him. He has a hard time with it. But his gap down block has been awesome. He's beginning to get stronger in the weight room, which is good. He's still 15 years old. So
And not finished growing yet either.
No. He's got a bright future ahead of him, and and he's kind of embraced his role, and he doesn't want to come off the field.
That's a good thing.
I'll put some other guys in. He said, Coach, I'm good. I'm like, I know you good, but let's roll some people in there. So
take you a breath there, Nolan. You have had to play tackle, and you have had to play tight end because of necessity.
Yes,
Talk a little bit about what's the difference, or is there any difference between when you're at one or the other one?
There's not really a big difference in the two, because either way I'm still going to block, because we don't run many tight end passes, which is fine with me. But either way, I'm basically just a blocker, which is fine. But I don't think there's that big of a difference in the two, so it doesn't really bother me.
The good thing is you have, if you are at tight end, he still has that hip mentality, which you have to have at his position. It's because I know you don't care to hit people. You'd probably rather do that than about anything else. But it makes a difference. If you've got that mindset, you're going to have to go out and hit somebody, which he does, and block. Then that makes it right there is 90% of the battle, though.
Well, when you line up in a two tight end set, it kind of balances up defenses, and you kind of know where they're going to be.
Right.
You just got to go through your rules and take the proper footwork, and it kind of extends the defense out. I know it brings people in the box, but if you take the correct angles and things like that,
right,
we can get those blocks made. And when you're in there with no tight end and they load the box on you, it's really tough to run the football, especially if your passing game's not going. And,
exactly.
And we still practice a lot of that stuff. We really do. But these guys know, once we flipped that switch and we went two tight ends this year, and they saw, hey man, we can be something. They've kind of embraced that, and I think they really enjoy it. When we're just hammering people 7-8 yards a pop, right, our guys get happy.
Yeah.
It's hard to pass block. It really is hard to pass block. I roomed with a lineman in college. I mean, he all he wanted to do was run the football, and we passed it. He was like, oh gosh, I don't want to throw it. So it's just tough. It's
right.
You're probably not as athletic as the D lineman that's rushing in front of you, and you got to try to stay in front of them. It's tough, your footwork's got to be good, your hands got to be in, you can't lean or get back on your heels,
right.
So in our style, what we're doing with the two tight ends, you get out on your hand and you either drive blocking, base blocking, or reaching, So it's a lot easier to do that than it is to pass block, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, Nolan, you have grown more ways than one. I think from the first year, and I don't have any doubt you have confidence in yourself, but it's that thing where, am I going to be able to do this that they're asking me to do? And there has to be, as a sophomore, has to be something like, and you've got a lot on you now. I mean, you really do, but you stepped up to the task and playing some really good football right now.
Thank you.
I think you've got a bright future ahead of you. And
What's your favorite pass route to catch?
Probably the shallow cross. I'm not the best at catching it, but it's probably my favorite route because it's mostly open most times we run it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It is.
They're not looking out.
It's just hard, when you flood a zone with people, and you got outside linebackers dropping deep, and you got that shallow cross, and if we get across there, and we get the edge block, it's usually pretty open. So.
And he's done well with it.
Yeah, we're working on a little stiff arm today. Try to hit those guys in the face mask with that hand when the little guy's trying to take you out. So
yeah, you take care of it.
Yes, sir.
It's just tools. He's got to learn. At tight end, it's continually learn the position. Everything that goes with it.
Right.
And he's still learning. I mean, he's young, but he's got, like I said, he's got a bright future because number one, he can block.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes as a tight end.
And two, he ain't finished growing yet.
2 years ago in the NFL draft, they took 28 tight ends.
Right.
And they didn't take them because they catch football. I can tell you that right now.
That's obvious, right?
There was more tight ends drafted than any other position. So that's an important position. That guy also can play some H-back too, move around. So it's endless possibilities at the tight end position.
Yeah.
So,
Nolan, I appreciate you
Thank
stopping
you.
by, and we're going to have a little talk here with the head coach of the Vikings, Mike Mays. Again, the Vikings hosting Cherokee this Friday night for homecoming, or not homecoming, senior night. I've said that a couple of times. It will be senior night at the Castle, and Coach Mays, Cherokee's going to come in 4-4 and 2-2. We started this like 5 weeks ago. It was 4-game season, 3-2. Now it's 1, and there's stuff on the line out there. I mean, take care of business at home, and you know you're going to be playing at home.
Yeah, you know, when we brought up the schedule early in the year, you know, you kind of circle the ones that you think are really going to be tough games for you, and we really felt like Cherokee was going to be a tough game for us, and I still really think that, you know, because they're so explosive on offense. They got you know, excellent quarterback, and they got skilled guys at the wazoo, and the running back that transferred from Volunteer. I mean, he runs hard. He reminds me of that guy from Lee County.
Right.
About 185 pounds, runs hard, good speed. You can run away from him if you don't have a good angle. You know, so, but I do think we could do what we do on offense and have success. I think we're bigger than they are up front, which is going to help us. But JT's trying to take my wings over there. But, you know, we just can't let them big play us. You know, and that's kind of been our motto.
Right.
You know, here lately on defense, is don't give up the big play. You know, we gave up. I mean, I think they completed 30 passes last week on us, but only one deep one.
Short, yeah.
Well, 2 deep ones. One of them was on Fouch. I mean, I got a picture. He intercepted that ball.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But you know, you gotta move on to the next play, and I've learned that as a head coach. You know, I used to get all wired up and been out of shape on calls, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. But you know, really, you're not going to change the call. You just got to go back and play the next play, and that's what I tell our kids. And if I do that as a head coach, then the kids are going to do that. But if I'm constantly talking about that play, or you know, and just whining to the refs, it's not going to help me out, and it's not going to help our team. So I've matured in that way of, you know, just playing the next play, and you know, we almost got a 4th down stop on the goal line right there. You know, so you know, just don't worry about those things, and you can't control what the referee calls. You really can't. You know, I feel like we were playing against another team out there also the other night at some point, but you know, but they see it a certain way. You know, I mean, they're human; they make mistakes, but sometimes they just see it a certain way, and you got to talk to them a little bit and say, hey, you know, see it our way, son. You know, but you got to move past that, play the next play. So they can
score some points without they've been giving up some too. You know, you look at their scores, and it's well, you know, I mean, it looks to me. I mean, well, for what it's worth, I mean, if you're looking just on paper, they're almost a mirror image of Crockett.
Yeah, you know, that, call me old-fashioned. That's fine with me. You know, I still believe in clock management and playing good, running the football and ball control offense, and taking our shots when we do. And Coach Prophet's done a great job of taking shots when when we feel like we got the matchup, and playing outstanding defense. And you know, hats off to Coach Chandler. I mean, you know, we've got some things and some clinics the last few years that's helped us versus spread offenses, and you know, we're getting up there and challenging and playing man, and you know, our kids have embraced it. You know, we got some really smart kids back there in the secondary that make adjustments, and you don't have to tell them. You really don't have to tell them twice.
Right.
You know, we can tell them one time, and they're going to do it, and that's really a big difference on defense this year is, you know, having speed. You know, we've got more speed. And our kids are understanding what we're doing. Right. And either we're doing a better job of coaching, or those kids are smarter. So it could be a mixture of both, but they've done an outstanding job.
And going back to last Friday, they threw for 300 yards, but I'm sitting there, had 5 sacks, I think. And they listen, second half, Damian Duff and kept, you know, Darius Shuri started getting in on people. Isaac Tripp started, you know, the defensive line, they started, and then with the defensive backs, they really pretty much had everything covered.
Yeah, it was, you know, our pass rush was relentless.
Everybody looks and says, well, he threw for 300 yards. Well, yeah, when it's 12 and nothing more than 15 except for 2 plays, it's not hard to do that, you know, and you're throwing 63 times, you're probably going to throw for 300, but in the end, It is what it is, and the defensive line, I think they played great the other night.
Did a great job of stopping their run and making them one-dimensional, you know, and we were able to put pressure on them and rush the passer and go to a little bit different scheme up front so we could get some pressure on the quarterback.
We held them to minus 16 yards rushing the other night, too, so that's huge. But, again, we've got a whole nother thing coming in with Cherokee.
It's about the same, you know, you're going to see about the same thing. The quarterback's, he's good, and he probably runs a lot better than Crockett's running quarterback, but he doesn't throw it near what Kay Larkins does. That kid's special. You know, he's got a bright future ahead of him. I mean, the ball came out quick. You know, we were breaking it, and the ball was there, you know. So, this Trent kid, he's a good athlete, and they run a lot of zone read with him, and he can run it. You know, they got a double threat back there with that running back and him. You know, I mean, we're going to have to be really good on defense this week, both in the passing game and the running game. So, you know, offensively, I think, you know, we can insert our will. I really believe we can insert our will with this offensive line and keep the ball out of their hands and make some plays down the field if we have to. So I like our chances. We just got to play solid on defense.
Right. We were talking a bit about that earlier about their defense. You know, they've given up some runs. They've given up some points. You know, the whole thing is like, don't break if it ain't, don't fix it if it ain't broke, you know. And right now, and especially I think the last 5 games, y'all played as well as you could play.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think if you go back to the Boone game, you know, we got a nasty taste in our mouth after that game. You know, they had 2 weeks to prepare for us. They ran some things that we hadn't seen, and our kids really, being young as they are, sophomore up front a lot.
Right.
They hadn't seen some of that, and, you know, we were trying to make adjustments at halftime. Lost Jeffrey, you know, with a concussion, and, you know, I just felt like we were really on our heels from the get-go, you know.
Right.
And then, of course, we weren't moving the ball on offense, and it just snowballed on us. You know. I'd really like to play him again at one time this year, but I really think we kind of flipped that switch on both sides of the ball after that game. I mean, I thought we played really good defense at Elizabeth. I mean, they made 2 or 3 really good catches on us, and, you know, and I tell my corners, hey, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, and they catch a ball on you, hey, I'm not mad at you. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Exactly.
You know, but, you know, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you don't bust the coverage, and your technique is flawless, they're gonna make catches. You know, and that kid was good. So, you know, they were a good football team. You know, there's some explosive offenses that we've seen this year, and you know, I think we're getting better on defense, and our kids are understanding what we want out of them. So,
well, it's a big night, Friday night. It is senior night for the Vikings, and got some guys getting recognized Friday night that been with you for 4 years even, and it's always kind of a tough night. But, you know, the good thing is now it's senior night, but, you know, you're going to be playing in 2 weeks again too, though, Mike. So please, everybody come out, pack the stadium and pack the castle and get out and support the Vikings Friday night. Again, the hosting Cherokee at the Stone Castle will be on at 6:30 with the Dr. Deborah Basham pregame show, and then McAllister's kickoff at 7:30, and get to see all the seniors recognized. And I think if it's usually what it is, it'll be all fall sports, fall seniors, and also Mighty Viking Band seniors. And I'm looking forward to that. I know you appreciate it, but all the student section and the band being there together and stuff, and it's gotten better.
Yep.
And they're making some noise over there. And that's what you want.
I mean, I told our guys at the beginning of the year, if you want people to sit in the stands and watch you and cheer for you, win some games.
Yep.
You know,
you're exactly right.
I mean, winning helps a lot of stuff, you know.
It does.
I really can't say enough about these senior class. You know, we've got so many leaders that I feel like I can count on and talk to about things. You know, JT is probably the guy that really feels like this is his team.
Right.
And, you know, Cortland's, he's gone leaps and bounds. You know, Blackwell and Jeffrey Van Valkenburg, even you know, people that spot play like Hunter Rouse and kids like that,
right.
Really, you know, with their effort and their consistency and be willing to play on scout team, and, you know, they've really stepped up. And Logan Harder going from wide receiver to play tight end, you know, didn't even bat an eye. Said, well, hey, whatever we got to do, coach. You know, Tan, you know, embracing his role, being able to step in and do what he does. And, you know, I mean, I just can't say enough about these seniors. So.
Well, we will be at the Castle Friday night for the Vikings and Cherokee right here on ESPN Tri-Season. I want to thank everybody for listening in tonight. A big thanks to Nolan Wishon and also to Joe Maggard, our Viking players, for being here with us, and to Ray Johnson and John Monroe and the head coach of the Vikings, Mike Mays. Daniel, our engineer, back in studio. Thank you so much as always, and we'll be right there at the Castle Friday night at 6:30 right here on ESPN. Everybody have a great night, and as always, go Vikings. Good night, everybody.
At Bill Gatton Honda, we make car buying easy with our competitive pricing and award-winning service. Get a 2017 Honda Civic LX as low as $169 a month. Or how about the 2017 Honda HR-V LX for only $189 a month? And don't forget our 2017 Honda Fit LX for $139 a month. Visit us online 24/7 at BillGattonHonda.com. And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.
Harry has a Honda, Holly has a Honda, Howard drives a Honda too. Jerry's got a Honda, Freddie's got a Honda, you know what you got to do. Bill Gatton is a friend for sure, he's looking out for you. After all these years, it's time for you to drive a Honda too. Bill Gatton has a Honda for you.
And remember, we've got a Honda with your name on it.